What is up? It's your boy, the Canologist. We're back with another episode of OSRS, AFK, and Code Study Sesh. Let me change the tunes, because, I want to see what other... Whoa, is that vampires? I thought I saw vampire. Whoa. Okay. Let's get back to monoliths. So we did the decoupling. We wrote the notes for that. So now it says the assignment for now Chirpy is technically a monolith. That's it. We're keeping all the API logic decoupled in the sense that it will be served from its own namespace, path prefix. We will serve the website from the app path. We'll be serving the API from the API path. Let's move our non-website endpoints into the API namespace in our routing. To do this, prepend API to the beginning of each of our API non-file server endpoints. Okay, so let's go to the code. Non-file server endpoints. So handler reset, middleware metrics, API config. And this is get metrics, so this would be API metrics, API reset. Right now these handle configs are just the handlers, but the actual path is where we do everything from. Let's move our non-website endpoints. These are the endpoints. I wonder if this healths one would be one too, or is this just a dummy? Non-website endpoints. Okay, just non-website endpoints. So I will leave this then as is. We serve the website from the app path, and we'll be serving the API from the API path. Non-file server endpoints. Okay, so file server hits is API config middleware metrics. Technically, but that's a handler. This is handler metrics, handler reset. I think we're good at this point. So let's try go, build, go out, and run the file out. Whoa. App assets. What about just app? Welcome to Chirpy. Okay, so it's working. The app path is working as we expect. The next thing I want to do is let's look at the output expected. So API reset. Oh, and it kind of tells us what to do. API reset, get app. Okay. App assets. Okay, that's a logo PNG. API metrics, API health. Okay, so we want to do API health as well. Just look at this. Look at the test case scenarios in order to correct our code, which is what we expect to do. Then we take this since it's all running. And I forgot the note for graceful server restart. Accept time connection. Well, I thought there was like another command. We'll go over it the next lesson, but for the purposes of this lesson, I just want to make sure that we're correctly assessing things. So yeah, let's go back to here. Let's go back to VS Code. API healths 8080. So for the purposes of making it easier, we're just going to control C it. There's another command to restart it gracefully. I'll show you guys in the next video though. Run it again. And then what's it called? File server. This one we want to run the actual boot dev command because now we know what we want to expect. Run that. 200, 200, 200s all around. So now I expect to pass. So now I just go copy, paste. Boom. Which is better? There's always a trade-off. So pros for the monolith. Simpler to get started with, easier to deploy to newer versions because everything's in sync. In the case of being embedded in the HTML, the performance can result in better UX and SEO. Decoupled, okay, so also there's probably cons too, so let's just focus on the pros for now. Easier and cheaper to scale as traffic grows. Easier to practice good separation concerns. As the code base grows, could be hosted on separate servers using different technologies. Embedding data in the HTML is still possible with pre-rendering. Similar to how Next.js works. Okay, we have the best of both worlds, perhaps. My recommendation to someone building a new application from scratch would be to start with a monolith, but to keep the API and front end decoupled. Logically within the project from the start. Okay. That way our app is easy to get started with, but can migrate to a fully decoupled. Okay, so cheaper to host as traffic and scope increases. Traffic and scope increases. Okay, if the scope increases and traffic increases, I still want to say decoupled. Okay, so I was right. Which would be faster to start a new project monolith because everything's in one spot. Okay, and this is admin namespace. What is this? outside an admin namespace, this is where we will put endpoints intended for internal administrative use. There's nothing inherently more secure about this namespace. It's just an organizational structure. Interesting. Endpoints intended for internal administrative use. Swap out get API metrics for get admin metrics. Use this template with sprintf, where d is replaced with the number of times. I want to say it's that. Then we go back to main Go. We change to admin metrics. Where D is replaced okay, so content type is now text HTML. D is the number of hits to the file server. HTTP localhost 8080 admin metrics. I mean, I guess I could save that. And I could commit after this. The next thing I want to do is try loading admin metrics. Okay, now we're gonna build a server, admin metrics, that should go hit 0. Nice. Oh, unless it's talking about this is the HTML. And in that case, I could do this. String literal not terminated. Okay, so we'll backtick it. Now it is. Then we just go d times. So now it should do that, and then I just have to revert this. Save that. It's already using sprintf, and it's going to get the hit number of loaded times. So then I can go reload, admin metrics, boom, welcome to Chirpy. Chirpy has been visited this many times. Then open up another localhost 8080. One sec, let me get some bars. App. Welcome to Chirpy. So let's refresh that. Five times. Okay, so it is incrementing. It's now able to count the occurrences. Update API reset to admin reset. Okay, I'll do that. API reset. Then we go this. This should work. Stats go 200. 200, 200, 200, 200. Okay, so it looks like it's working across the board. Now I gotta do this to submit it. Boom. And we are done. Then we have deployment options. Okay, let's look at that. Well, before that, I'm gonna commit these changes. One second, let me see where I'm at. Okay, let's commit these changes in the meanwhile. Admin permissions. And what else does it do? Update handler metrics to track new endpoint hits. Git push origin main. You gotta commit some code. because I do want to sleep as well, but I gotta let my phone charge and then let my iPad charge. That way, the next lessons I can take notes and stuff. I love taking notes. If you guys haven't noticed, I'm always taking notes. That said, let's talk about our choice of project architecture affecting our deployment options and how we could deploy our application future. We talk about cloud deployment options here. By cloud, I'm referring to a remote server managed by a third party. I'll be honest, I don't give a shit about this comic. Using a cloud service to deploy applications is super common these days because it's easy, fast, possible to deploy on a local or on-premise server. Some companies still do that, but it's not as common. Multiple programs can be deployed in monolithic deployment. Straightforward because your server is just one program. You need to get it running on a server that's exposed to the DNS, domain names system. Domain name system, yeah, I got it right. Server that's exposed to the internet and point your DNS records to it. You could upload and run it on a classic server. AWS, GCP, DigitalOcean, Droplets, Azure virtual machines. Alternatively, you could use a platform that's specifically designed to run web applications. Flyo, Heroku, Google App Engine, AWS, Elastic Beanstalk. Decoupled deployment. With a decoupled architecture, you have two different programs that need to be deployed. Deploy backend with the same kinds of places you would deploy a monolith. If you're front-end server, you could do the same, or you can use a platform specifically designed to host static files and server-side rendering. Netlify, Vercel, GitHub pages. So for example, this is my Vercel app. Everyone's seen this by now. This is hosted on Vercel, and the backend is hosted by Notion. Other backend servers to your stack. Multiple looks like a decoupled just by the way it's used. Multiple programs must be deployed. Oh yeah, multiple programs must be deployed in a decoupled, because you have to run the front end and the back end, whereas a monolith, you just run one big thing. And then a classic virtual server like EC2 can be used for monolith. What? This is monolithic deployment. Oh, it could be used those both. Yeah, okay. Which is a better fit for Netlify? Static front end, RESTful data API. Well, this is part of monolith still as well. Netlify, decoupled deployment. We could just use the RESTful API. Oh no, we can't. Static front-end asset server. Okay. And then chapter 4, HTTP clients. Okay, so now we're on a new chapter. So I guess we will start that in another video. So if you like this, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, comment below, like the video, share the video. And yeah, add suggestions. I love hearing from you guys. It's been real, but it is also 12:30 in the morning. So I'm gonna go sleep now. Peace. Kinologist out.